The 2025 Imola Grand Prix is now officially in the books, and Max Verstappen is a two-time Grand Prix race winner in 2025. But this race right here was very big for Red Bull. 400th career start as a team, and you go to the top step of the podium of Max Verstappen, and this is probably Imola's last race on the F1 calendar for the foreseeable future. So they went out with a bang, if you will. But now all the attention turns to the Monaco Grand Prix, which is a Grand Prix that is highly regarded in motorsports and is actually Formula One's biggest race. But I don't want to get ahead of myself and call it a race because it's going to be decided in qualifying. If you start on pole, you will more than likely win the Grand Prix. But there is 78 laps and a lot of strategy to be involved. And so today I'm here to give y'all my full-on predictions on who is going to win the Monaco Grand Prix. And enough said here, and on to the intro we go. Alrighty here, before I give y'all my Monaco predictions, I do want to talk about a battle that is starting to brew up, if you will, but it's not really getting enough clout, if you will, and it is Williams and Ferrari. Yes, this past weekend, Ferrari outscored Williams with Lewis Hamilton beating Alexander Albon, who beat Leclerc, and who beat Carlos Sainz. And yes, Williams has a big hole to dig themselves out of if they're going to race with Ferrari for the rest of the year for the constructors. But we're still going into what is a race number 8 in Monaco. We got a long way to go, and Williams can really catch them up if they wanted to. But it's all going to depend on if they want to go ahead right now and develop the 2026 car, which they could, and put all the time and money on that. But then again, I think if they keep on investing with this car they got now and keep on developing it, I know it's going to be useless and pointless after this year. But if they keep on with it, I think they can win a Grand Prix this year just because of the way the field is. Alexander Albon has been clicking on all cylinders. I think if he had a slightly better car, he could easily win a Grand Prix. I think if it was any other track instead of Imola, passing-wise, he would have got by Leclerc and probably chased down Piastri and got third place just because of the tire set between him and the McLaren. But I just really think Williams is heading in the right direction. But I think if they're going to catch Ferrari, it's going to be a big task. But I think it's going to stop them and hold them back is whether or not the team wants to say, you know what, let's just look ahead to 2026. We got the Mercedes power unit, which is second to none. And if we can develop a good chassis of the car, we can win a freaking world championship. So I can see the temptation of them wanting to go to next year's car right away. But then again, if you go away right now, who knows? It's going to be the story of what is, because I think they can win a Grand Prix. I think they can get a lot of podiums as the years goes on. But yeah, I think a Grand Prix win is on the table for Williams this year. Ferrari, I don't know how I feel about them. They had a horrible qualifying in Imola. Yes, they had some good results in this terms of their qualifying position and race pace. And I just think, though, the one-lap pace is going to kill them as the season goes on. But they are going to a track like Monaco where they have been known in the past to do really well. So maybe the tables turn there. But like I said last week in the video, Imola and Monaco, yes, there's going to be teams that come out of nowhere and do really well. I'm not saying Williams is one of them because they have been competitive all year. So I really won't take all this stuff with Red Bull and whatnot to an extreme after these next 2 weeks ends. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting in Monaco, but I don't expect Lewis Hamilton to do particularly well. Charles Leclerc, I think he's been with Ferrari the last so many years since the new regulations in 22. He's going to have a really good idea on what the car is going to be like, the characteristics of it with Monaco. And I think he's going to have a little crafty qualifying session. But the Williams are going to have their work cut out for them. If they have a good qualifying session, who knows? They may get a podium. But the story is Williams is going to be the deciding factor whether or not they're going to battle Ferrari. Go next year or stay with this year. I think ultimately they'll go next year because of the chance of winning a world championship. But enough said here, and on to the picks. Like I said a couple of moments ago, I am not going to buy in stock of any of these teams in the next 2 weeks. Yes, Aston Martin had a great qualifying effort in Imola, one lap pace. What he saw in race pace, they sucked. So after this Grand Prix, the Monaco Grand Prix, I'm not going to look at them seriously. These tracks right here is just tight and it's hard to pass. So I'm not buying into Aston Martin. I don't have them in my points, obviously. But same for Alpine. I think Alpine has been kind of faking some people out, if you will, in recent time in one lap pace. But if they can get the setup right, who knows? They may qualify in the top 10 and score a point or two, but highly unlikely there. But the driver that I believe is going to win the pole for the Monaco Grand Prix and also win the Grand Prix itself is going to be Max Verstappen. He is one of the best, if not the greatest qualifier in Formula One history. If you remember back in 2023, when we had the track evolution starting to ramp up, if you will, at the end of qualifying, we saw the Alpine of Esteban Ocon shooting to the top of the board, and it put a lot of people on wow alert because people were saying, wow, the Alpine to the top on provisional pole. Fernando Alonso and the Aston Martin went even quicker. And next thing you know, Max Verstappen is down a couple of tenths in the second sector. Looks like Fernando Alonso is going to be on pole. Esteban Ocon is going to be up there with him. Verstappen has a mean, monstrous Sector 3 and gets pole by a significant margin. And it just shows to tell you how good Verstappen is in qualifying. Yes, he had a very sluggish 2 sectors in that opening lap in Monaco, but that final sector got him that Grand Prix win because Aston Martins were very quick that weekend, and Verstappen got on pole, and which won him the Grand Prix. I think, though, going into Monaco, Red Bull is still one hand behind their backs battling McLaren because of Yuki Tsunoda. So Verstappen, instead of having to beat one driver head up, he's going to have to beat 2. And I think he's going to do better than Piastri and Norris will. I think Piastri will come home in second place. I think his camp is going to get worried. If they go through this triple header without a win, I think they're really going to be concerned because we all know that the new mid-season regulation change is only going to really affect McLaren and maybe some of your back markers. But in Barcelona, the McLaren car may not be as competitive as it is now after these new regs come out. So they got to stock up on points at all costs. And if they're not doing it now, we saw they missed out on a lot in Imola. If they miss out on more, like a Grand Prix win in Monaco, it's going to be really concerning. And I just think Piastri is going to be under a lot of pressure, wanting to do well. Because if he does well here, it kind of puts back Verstappen for a little while. Because, yeah, Oscar Piastri is still the championship leader, but the lead is getting slimmer and slimmer and slimmer. So he has to do well in Monaco. He has to do damage limitation, if you will. P3, Charles Leclerc, like I said a couple of moments ago when I was talking about Ferrari versus Williams. Williams is going to be competitive this season. They're going to have great race pace, one lap pace, and it's kind of iffy, if you will. They're probably from the P7 to P10 range on any given weekend. Ferrari, though, their frame is anywhere from P3 all the way to P15. They got a wide margin, and if Ferrari can get that under control, I think they will for Charles Leclerc, who's been with this team for many years, especially with the new regulations that came out in 2022 and these kind of street races. They succeeded really well. I think they're going to have the right setup here for the Monegasque driver, and Charles Leclerc will come home on the podium in 3rd place. 4th place, though, is going to be the Mercedes driver of George Russell. George Russell right now is in a very interesting position. He is considered to be on the outside looking in for the Mercedes ride next year. It's all depending on what Max Verstappen does. Yes, Max Verstappen winning a Grand Prix today in Imola is going to help Russell's cause of staying at Mercedes. But if Verstappen decides to leave, Mercedes is going to be the team. And Russell is doing all he can right now. And anywhere else, he'll get a mega extension. But for Mercedes, they're kind of iffy because they're wanting to see what Verstappen does. They're not going to give Antonelli the boot because Antonelli is doing really well right now as a rookie. So they're not going to move on from him. But Russell, they may. So he's still having to do good, but under loads of pressure. P4 for him. P5, Lando Norris. P2 in Imola, I think, was a very big weekend for him. Yes, he did. Finished second to Verstappen, his big arch nemesis, if you will. But he did slightly gain ground on championship leader Oscar Piastri, and it's going to be very interesting. I cannot wait to see how things shape out, especially in the constructor side of things after Barcelona, because we all know McLaren will be affected big time. P6, Alexander Albon, also known as Alex. I think he's going to do really well here, and P6 for him, scoring some decent points. At P7, Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton, I want to be the first to tell you that Monaco isn't his best track. Quite frankly, this and Imola are one of his two worst tracks in Formula One. So, damage limitation here. If he has a good qualifying result, he'll have a good race result. But we'll see how things go there. But this is probably one of his worst tracks in Formula One. I would say this and Imola, and to an extent, Budapest is starting to get worse for him. Yes, obviously he's got a lot of Grand Prix wins there. Don't get me wrong. But in the new regulation era, he has struggled in Budapest. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate about saying that, but yes, he has won numerous times in the past era. But in the new regulations, these are his three worst tracks. So there you go there. P8, Carlos Sainz scoring some points. I think the gap between him and Albon is getting slimmer and slimmer by the week. Yes, it's still a big margin. Yes, I did expect this battle right here to be a lot closer at the beginning of the year, but the car development is still a big turn, especially going from a Ferrari to a Williams, and so he's getting adjusted, so just give him some more time. P9, Kimi Antonelli, and P10. It's going to be a toss-up here. A lot of people want to put Yuki Tsunoda up there. I'm not a fan of Tsunoda. Yes, I like Yuki Tsunoda, but I'm not a fan of him in the Red Bull. I think that they moved on from Liam Lawson way too soon. And quite frankly, are Liam Lawson and Yuki Tsunoda the perfect drivers, if you will, to go into the Red Bull ride next year? No, they're not. I just think that they did Lawson wrong. They did Tsunoda because of PR, and Tsunoda hasn't really done much at all in Red Bull. Yes, there's going to be Tsunoda fans that come out on record saying, oh, he scored points here and there. He bent it in Imola in qualifying, which hurt the team big time because they had to stay up late working on his car, and just getting 1 point, I believe it was, while his teammate won the Grand Prix. No, that cannot happen. If it was Liam Lawson, it'll be the end of the world, but it's Yuki Tsunoda, so they're not going to say nothing. And I'm just tired of it. I don't think Tsunoda is worthy of the Red Bull ride. But saying that, though, Liam Lawson will get P10 and will turn heads this weekend and save his F1 career, because Arvid Lindblad, if I'm saying that right, a Formula 2 driver, is starting to heat up, if you will. And I believe that if he finishes F2 really well this year, who knows? Who knows? He could very well jump the V-Carb side of things and go straight to Red Bull. He is that good of a driver. He is 17 right now, turns 18 in August. So I think that Liam Lawson and Isaac Hadjar, but I think Isaac Hadjar is going to be safe. But you never know if Dr. Helmut Marko called him a crybaby in Melbourne. So we all know that what kind of reputation he has to Marko. But if one of these drivers sucks after the summer break, I think Arvid Lindblad is going to replace him. I just think that he's doing good. There's no need to keep him in F2 any longer. But he could race right now, but he has to get permission from the FIA, the team from the FIA. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting here. But I believe Tsunoda has been a very big bust, and outside of the PR side of things, he's not really benefiting the team. He's not. But there you go. There's my 2025 Monaco Grand Prix predictions. Verstappen wins, Piastri second, and Charles Leclerc third. What do you think? Comment down below.